Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everyone. Whether you want to believe it or admit it, you're being held back by doing the things that you really want to do, the things that support you, all different things here. Finding the right relationship, having abundance, making money, all of that. You got chains and you're being held back. I know that sounds kind of crazy, and you might say to yourself, "No, I'm my own person. Free will." There are things in your past that you might not even realize that are limiting you, making you believe that you can't move your life forward in the direction you want to. We're going to look at some modalities today that can help you break free, and they're essentially so simple. It's something called Psych-K and also Theta Healing. And that's just part of what she offers. She is a healer in some regards there as well. Renee Lennox joins us again here on the program. How you doing today?
I'm great, Steve. How are you?
Wonderful. And this Psych-K thing, I heard about this a couple of years ago. I've looked into it, the different components of it. I had a little intro lesson to it, or just an introduction to it. Never did the full program yet, but I hear some amazing stories how it's changing people's lives. Can you share one? Do you have one?
Sure. First, I want to tell your audience, have you ever heard of the elephant rope story at the circus?
No.
There was a man who went to a circus and he just was amazed that these enormous elephants were being held in place by one rope around one of the elephant's front legs. And he's like, how do these elephants don't just run off? They're huge. They should be able to get away. So he decides to go to the circus trainer afterwards and ask them, like, how do you do this? And the trainer said, oh, that's easy. We get the elephants when they're babies and we put that rope on their front foot and they can't break free at that age. And then the next couple years, they still can't break free. And then after that, they become conditioned to believe that they can't break free and they don't have to worry about it. They don't even try to break free.
Hmm.
So this is the kind of thing that's happening to all of us. Like, how many things have your parents told you, your siblings, your teachers, friends,
Oh,
coworkers, bosses, that they told you years ago that have still stuck with you and you're still believing it? And we're not the same people we were a year ago, not alone second grade. If you were told in second grade, this is our troublemaker, you know what I mean? Like things that people have taught us that we believe that are holding us back. And it's like we're Ferraris that are being held in a garage instead of being out, pedal to the metal, experiencing our full potential, once
hmm.
we let go of these limiting beliefs that we're still holding on to.
And
And
those are the things that we were told. Then there's the things that we experienced where our subconscious, which is responsible for about 90 something percent of what we do every single day, every decision we make, everything we do, then there's that. There's so much, there's so many things that are holding us back that we don't even realize what's going on there.
right. Like with Psych K, one of the first things that I test on people is I love, honor, and appreciate myself. And I muscle test it on the person. Very rarely does somebody have a strong response to that. And they're surprised by it. And I was surprised when I had Psych K, my arm went down weak when I did the muscle testing. And you think, well, I love myself, but your conscious mind loves yourself, but your subconscious mind, which is the other 90%, is like, I don't believe you. I heard you busting on yourself, putting yourself down for years. So it's getting your subconscious to believe that fact that you love, honor, and appreciate yourself. So
Hmm.
the Psych K combines uh, psychology, neuroscience, and kinesiology. And we put the person into a whole brain state where you're using the left and right hemispheres of your brain and then we program the new belief into the subconscious. And it's just
Hmm.
phenomenal. And the great thing is that you get to see the result, because I'll say, for you to repeat, I love, honor, and appreciate myself, and we'll muscle test it. And if it's a weak response, then we do the Psych K procedure, and then we retest. And then you get to actually see how it worked, the success of it.
Hmm.
So it's
Ah, okay.
phenomenal.
It's like validation there. Uh, it's interesting when you think of these things that you may have heard, experienced throughout your life, and I'm talking from, small child until present. You brought back a memory of me in 11th grade. I always wanted to do radio, and in 12th grade, I got hired. Paycheck, the whole deal, haven't stopped. But I
Wow.
also wanted to be a syndicated cartoonist. So I was kind of, both going along the way there. Loved graphics art. 11th grade, Ms. Meyer art class. I could tell you the table location, where in the room I was at. I was painting pretty large picture of a barn with a fall look to it with a wheat grass leading you up to the front door. And I just was having trouble with the sky. Just wasn't coming out. And she comes walking by. I'm like, Ms. Meyer, I can't do the sky. It's not coming out right. Give me a suggestion. Help me out here. Takes the brush goes, look fantastic. And she looks at me and she goes, you know what you are? You are an underachiever.
Oh my goodness.
And I, didn't realize it at that time, but as we're talking, I'm getting the memory. And wouldn't you know it, I gave up on art a few years after that and just continued in the radio direction. Still interested in graphics, still have the eye for it, have a marketing company. So, it helps by far, because I'm into it. But I don't know if that derailed me at that point. Because they're pretty strong words coming from a teacher. And I don't think like our parents, I don't think they mean ill or negative on that. They're just saying some, speaking their mind, what they're feeling at the time, but nobody realizes how it can impact you, even as a parent. If I knew all this stuff now,
I know.
I would have parented totally differently back then.
I know.
Right?
I'm 6 years old, and I still remember in second grade an aunt that said to me, Renee, you're attractive, but your sister is beautiful. And when I think, I'm like, how could she say that to a second grader? And I still think about that sometimes, like
This is
it's
crazy.
crazy.
You're bringing back memories for me. Second grade, Ms. Baruch. Just during class, and I started laughing. She takes me by the arm, takes me in front of the class, hits my butt in front of the class.
Oh my
Now,
God.
now you'd be, thrown in jail. And it was a whole big thing. I told my mom, um, uh, big meeting with the district and everything. I was taken out of the class. She got reprimanded. But the reason I bring this up is some close friends and in relationships have said to me, you know what? You never laugh out loud. You never just like belly laugh. And I don't. I chuckle. I think things are funny. I'll bet you that's because I'm limited in my laughter from that episode in second grade. I'll bet you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
crazy.
mortifying, and then I had to sit in front of the class, during the rest of the class in the chair in front of everybody because I just laughed out loud, while she was delivering a lesson. So these are the examples of the things that could be, probably are holding us back. And there's so many more, even little comments your parents, or you're walking by the kitchen, you hear something, you're 4 years old. They're not even talking about you, but you think they are. And then subconscious filed it away. And now you've got that, rope around the elephant situation later in life,
Right.
right?
Right.
Hmm. Psych K, I know we don't have the time to go deep into it, but what's actually going on?
It's actually that whole brain state. There's something about the neuroscience of it, with the left and right hemispheres coming together, that allows the new belief. to stick and replace the old belief. It's just amazing because, and like I was saying, you get that validation because you muscle test before and then you muscle test after.
Hmm.
So it's just amazing stuff. And the way I did an advanced workshop on it, and it was like 3 days worth of working on different things. And when I went into the workshop, I had a floater in my eye. I don't know if you've ever experienced that with your eye, but it just all of a sudden it kind of feels like a bug is in your eye. And it was annoying. And then another guy in the class had had low back pain for 2 years. And at the end of that workshop, I left with no floater in the eye, and he left with no back pain.
Wow.
And the big theme for me with whatever was going on with me during that time, that workshop, different situations that I was going through, the big picture that I guess I wasn't seeing was that I needed to set more boundaries. So we were working a lot on that, like setting boundaries and programming that in my subconscious. And walked out of there, the floater was gone. And the gentleman that was in my class was dealing with a lot of fears. He was going through a divorce and dealing with a lot of parental alienation issues, tons of fear. And fear affects kidneys, bladder, low back. End of
Mm.
the workshop, after he did a lot of Psych K, left without that back pain that he had for 2 years.
Yeah, great point you bring up. We don't realize that the stuff that we're dealing with because of these things in the past are dictating our health
Right.
all the time. We could be walking around with chronic issues, disease, all of that. And it's because of what this is believing, and it's translating into the physical challenges that we have.
Exactly. My sister was actually scheduled for shoulder surgery for a rotator cuff. And a friend of ours, who is the person that I found out about Psych K, she had a few Psych K sessions with her. She said, please just let me do some Psych K on you before you go through with this surgery. And my sister said, okay, it's worth a try. Shoulder pain gone, never had to have the surgery. And that's when I was like, wow, I got to learn this. It's just so powerful.
Wow. Okay. So you mentioned muscle testing. I'm a little bit familiar with it. Can we explain it and give a maybe an example of it?
Sure. Usually, when I'm teaching my clients, I have them do what I call the tip test or the sway test, where you stand up with your legs shoulder width apart and your arms at your side, and you close your eyes and you say your name. I would say my name is Renee, and see which way your body tilts, if you go forward or backwards. And then you say my name is another name, Bob, whether or not you go forward or backwards. And when it's the truth, you go forward. When it's a lie, you go backwards. Now, if we're doing that and you do the opposite, that means your polarity's off. So I have you do a couple either shoulder swipes where you swipe down from right to left, or cross crawls where you touch your hands on your knees side to side, and then we retest. Also, if you're dehydrated, it can throw it off. You're going to want to take a drink of water. If that doesn't work, I have you put your hands back on your kidney area for a couple minutes and take a deep breath. Retry. If that doesn't work, I'll put you into that whole brain posture that I was telling you about. And then I'll have people take deep breaths while they're in that whole brain posture and then retest. And usually you'll start going the correct way. And then you can also do an O ring. You get your middle finger and thumb in an O, and then your other middle finger and thumb, and interlock them. And when I say show me a yes, and gently pull, my yes locks. And if I say, show me a no, and gently pull, it unlocks. So that's another way. There's a ton of different ways you can muscle test.
So, how do you get out of your head? Like when you're doing this, so, I could say the statement, my last name is really Harper. So I could say my last name is Harper, and it's pretty firm lock.
It's locked. Okay.
Yeah. My last name is Jones. Now,
Is it looser?
it is looser, but what about if somebody is trying to beat the system and just like, yeah, how do you respond to that? Because I've done the tip test or sway test, whatever it is, and I question myself when I try to get the baseline for a yes, true statement or no. Um,
Right.
how do you
Especially
get?
if you love a certain food and you're trying to test that food, it's hard. Like if you really love pizza and you're holding a slice of pizza and saying, "Is this good for me?" It's hard for you to not do it the way you want it to wind up because you love it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if I feel like we're having issues like that, I'll double test with the O-ring to see what I'm coming up with, to see if maybe the ego is getting in the way of the person.
Mm. It's once you let go, like just now, even when I gave a different last name, I could feel it slip in there. And I wasn't, I even want to try and beat the system by like, really locking into it, but I can still feel some slippage whereby, my last name is Harper. It's locked tight, my last name is Harrison. I can feel a little
Is it
given
looser?
way. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tiny bit
I
because I'm
find
overthinking.
too, try doing it closing your eyes. I find
Ah,
that.
okay.
Try it again and see if it gets a little looser.
All right. Uh, my last name is Harper. My last name is Lennox. I'd say it's a little looser.
A little looser.
Yeah, interesting. Wow. I believe that we have the answers inside of us.
We
E-
do.
Everything you want to know. What should I do tonight? What should I have for dinner? Should I choice A, choice B? You already know what the answer is. This thing around us called life gets in the way, technology and all of that. So you can't hear the answer. Can you use that test to give you answers? Should I do this tonight? Should I do that tonight? Would that work as well? Or no, it's more like yes, no, yes, no.
I always say it in the form of a statement. Like when I'm having people test foods or supplements, I have them hold it to their solar plexus and say it in a statement form. This is good for me. And either you're tipping forward, your body needs it, or you're tipping backwards and you don't need it.
Okay.
If you do questions, I feel like the ego starts getting in the way, you know.
Yep, yep. And would you say the sway test is probably the best one?
Well, for Psych K, I use the person's arm. I hold they hold their arm out nice and straight. So I'm testing, putting real light pressure on their arm. I'll ask the question, I'll say test. Let them know I'm testing it, and then I push gently, and it either stays strong or it weakens.
Hmm. Interesting. I guess it all depends on the individual, right?
Right.
Hmm. So let's move into the thing called theta healing. How does that vary from Psych-K?
Theta healing is a modality where um, the practitioner goes up into a theta brainwave state. So it's more of like a meditative state that we're in, where we're tapping into the energy of the universe and asking for the new belief to be downloaded. So it's
Hmm.
very different from Psyche, but works equally well. They both are so powerful, but I always muscle test my client to see what is best for that client because your subconscious
Uh,
knows what you're ready for. And if Psyche is, everyone has different belief systems. different situations, different limiting beliefs, and your subconscious will tell me which one is the best for you. That's going to work best for you.
Oh, interesting. All right. So you do the muscle testing before you do anything.
Right. Any client that comes in, I automatically do an hour Reiki session. That's the first thing I do to get all the chakras balanced. Then I muscle test to see, does this person have trapped emotions? And if it comes up yes, then I do some emotion code to get rid of the trapped emotions. Then I'll muscle test, does the person need body code? That if they're dealing with a health issue, body code can get to the underlying reason. It's one of 6 categories, either an energetic reason, one of your circuit or systems, a toxin, a pathogen, a structural misalignment, like a chiropractic type of issue, or nutrition or lifestyle. So if someone's really struggling with a health issue, they might need body code to figure out the underlying reason. Then I'll muscle test for limiting beliefs. Would this person benefit from Psyche or Theta? So the whole time I'm tapping into your subconscious to see what's the best for you.
Yeah, it's kind of cool where the person is telling you this is what's going to work better, you know, in a subconscious way.
Subconscious way, right,
Right.
right. And I also do for people who are having gut issues, I do 100 panel food sensitivity tests where I have 100 foods and I'm tapping into your subconscious, and your subconscious is telling me the exact foods that you have to stay away from for 30 days so we can get your microbiome nice and balanced again.
Wow.
And it's great because your subconscious knows if you're having histamine issues, if you're having oxalate issues, lectin issues, if you have leaky gut, and it's going to say, these are the foods that you have to refrain from right now.
It's so amazing how powerful the subconscious is, how insightful it is, but it's not easy for us to tap into it. There's ways that it would be great if I could give you an answer right away, by just like, let me think for a second. Oh, I got it. Just tapped in, just called myself subconscious. Here's the answer. Uh, what a difference life would be,
I
you
know.
know?
And
Hmm.
the thing is, like a lot of what I'm doing, a lot of people still consider woo woo,
Yep.
so you don't know how much of the woo a certain person can handle. But once they are open and curious and they try it and they see the results, they're just amazed.
Oh, for
And
sure.
then they embrace the woo.
I had some medium woo-woo wondering there until I started researching this, experiencing it, and even you saying that you do Reiki to basically clean the energetic slate before you dig into any kind of treatment or any modality. I'm like, fantastic. Way to go. It's like, you know, it's you're in we have I don't want to say we're not damaged goods, but we have things going on here. But at least now you have a cleaner baseline energetically to work with somebody. Love it. Renee, what's the best way for somebody to get off the woo-woo ledge or ask questions or even just dig deep into this and start healing and move their life forward? How do they find you?
And my website is www.holisticgroove.com. And my phone number is 215-850-3628. My email is Renee at holisticgroove.com. And I'm located at 100 West 3rd Avenue in Conshohocken, PA, but all of my services I can do virtually as well. And I have a YouTube channel with tons of holistic videos. And that's at Holistic Groove dash Renee. That's Renee. Lennox, Lennox dash CHHP. And I'm on Instagram and TikTok under Holistic Groove.
Thank you for also reminding that you do virtual sessions because yes, this can all be done virtually anywhere on the planet. Yeah, start moving your life
Yeah.
forward. It's super cool once you start digging into it and seeing what's out there that all these things that we didn't know exist, and it just We're just getting in your head. You're allowing yourself to get in your head, essentially. It's not like you're tapping into anything.
Right.
Thank you so
And
much.
could I tell you about like 4 phenomenal programs that we have? Do
Just
we have
about out of
time?
time, but yeah, sure.
Oh, we're doing the Step into Your Power program. It's phenomenal. The first session, you have 4-handed Reiki with me and my partner. And the second session, you experience a lot of the modalities, emotion code, body code, psych K, or theta healing. And then the third session is with my partner. He specializes in past traumas. He can read your aura, things like that. So between the 3 sessions, you are ready to step into your power.
Love
We have
it.
another one called the Blue Ray Inner Soul Healing for Men, for any men that are dealing with like a divorce, parental alienation, emotional wounds. Because I feel like men a lot of times don't search out help, and we want to help them when they're
Mm,
going through these things. And we also have a divine feminine inner soul for women who are dealing with any kind of issues, divorce, miscarriages, infertility issues, everything that women go through. And then we have the Frequency of Love program for people who are trying to find their soulmate, because that all starts with you finding that perfect soulmate. So you want to get any heart walls down, trapped emotions, learn how to love, honor, and appreciate yourself
mm.
so that you can love unconditionally and be in the receiving mode for that perfect soulmate. So that's another program that we want
Fantastic.
to help people with.
Yeah. On the point of the last one, it should be you're attracting it, not going after it.
Exactly. Stop
Yeah.
chasing and attracting. Become a magnet for
Yeah.
that soulmate.
Yeah. But when you have these limiting beliefs and this stuff going on, you're not doing that. And that also goes for the right job and, opportunities and such.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wonderful talking with you. Thanks for everything today. And we're looking forward next time we get together.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.